I got to play. It's a guy that we both like.
There's one that sold for 61 on April 27th.
Damn.
Free shipping. Hell yeah, man.
It's not the obvious guys that win you your league.
Oh, I'm on the clock. Oh, no, I got auto picked.
Oh, there's one.
Oh, you missed your pick. People start going way off the board here.
That's a steal, baby.
I was clicking the button. This is all messed up now. How do we get so many auto picks? 2, 1.
Nailed it.
Week 7 is here on the Football Card Quest. We are on the hunt because you've got 6 teams on bye week. You've got injuries running rampant. You've got trade deadlines coming up. I mean, stuff is getting crazy around here in the NFL. That's one of the reasons why I love it, Steve, is because it keeps you on your toes week in, week out. So we're back on the hunt tonight for some card pick'ems. We're going to be doing some live eBay sniping, some underdog prop betting, and we're going to be talking about all about the latest news, injuries, the week 7 slates, and how that correlates with the data that we're finding on eBay. Maybe even some live snipes. Steve, the eBay hitman, myself, Andy, AC. How you feeling, Steve?
Feeling good, man. Sometimes you just have a rough day, whether it's work or at home, and you think, you know what, man? My evening just got better, man. I'm talking football with my buddy. I got the crew here in the chat. Everything's going to be all right, so I hope everyone's having an awesome evening out there. And hopefully your leagues and your best ball sheets are prospering as well. I know we got a lot to cover today, Andy, so where would you like to begin?
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to begin with Justin Fields because I felt like we were just starting to see Justin Fields come into form, and it was like, oh, is he going to progress as a passer? And he did that Thursday night game against the Commanders, and this past week he started to look good, and then a thumb injury, Steve, a thumb injury is holding him out, and it looks like he's doubtful now with the thumb, and people are buying some Tyson Bagent.
There was a lot of hype in the preseason for that guy. And there was already people maybe not so knowledgeable about football, but talking about like, yeah, he's the next guy. He's going to replace Fields, trade Fields. Obviously a bit premature, but the guy didn't look bad. I mean, obviously his first NFL snap resulted in a sack, fumble, touchdown, but all things aside from there, it went a little bit better after that.
Yeah, it's always rough when that's how you start your.
That's called resiliency, Andy. When you can bounce back from that.
Yeah, so the market is so limited for him, man. If you look at like the latest solds, a lot of it you're gonna find are these Leaf cards. You know, you've got some Leaf autos here selling for anywhere. It's actually quite a bit of variance. If you look at these two from today, one at 60, one at 25. I'm not sure that either one of these are really a play from a flippability standpoint, Steve. What's your thoughts on buying Tyson Bagent Leaf auto cards for this Week 7 matchup here? Are the Bears? Yeah, they're playing at home against the Raiders. I guess fairly cushy matchup for Tyson Bagent, but I'm not sure if it's worth it buying these unlicensed cards for this much.
Nah, I don't think at that price, to be honest with you. But I mean, there's at least the chance he plays multiple games. I don't think with the trade deadline coming up, obviously it's a topic every year about Fields. I don't think that happens this year. So I think that this is a guy that you could probably wait on. If you believe in him, you can probably wait on him. And I mean, I don't know, Andy, $100 for a unlicensed QB card, a guy that, look at that. That's wild to me right there.
Yeah, score rookie auto out of 10. So it's college uniform, but Bears logo on the bottom, but it's still that paper cardstock card, probably towards the lower end of my set rankings. And this sold for $525. It's the first down variation here, serial numbered out of 10. I mean, people are buying a lot of Tyson Bagent cards today. They're gambling on it.
I've used this term before, but there is a Bears tax that comes with buying a Bears player, especially if they play offense. Um, there just is. I hate it, but I was even playing Madden the other day, and it has, as if you're the organization guy that runs the organization for the Bears under the fan base, it says something along the lines of like fanatics or maniacal or whatever. And it's like Bears fans are abundant, they're crazy, they're obsessed with their organization, and they buy their guys, whether they fizzle out in a week, like a bottle rocket, or they end up lasting. I mean, if you're going in on this guy, I would wait. There'll probably be better opportunities and better sets that you can get into at these prices or less.
Tyson Bagent feels like he's got nothing to lose. So this is how he's inspiring confidence, especially against the Raiders defense that's been about middle of the pack. I mean, they've been better in terms of QB pressures with Max Crosby and whatnot than they have been against the run. So, hey, man, this is going to be a tough matchup for Tyson Bagent if Justin Fields struggled to get throws out quick and, go through his reads and allowing plays to develop. I mean, this is going to be tough matchup for them this weekend against the Raiders.
I'll say this. The Raiders offense hasn't looked that good. Bears offense without Fields may not be that good. But the Bears defense lately, if you've been paying attention, has been playing pretty good. So I wouldn't expect a one-sided game either way in this game, but I would temper my expectations for either offense. If you're picking a guy from either of these matchups, maybe Jacobs, Michael Mayer.
Michael Mayer had his little NFL coming out party this past week, and he was a very athletic tight end from Notre Dame coming out, and he's been super, super quiet, man. A lot of people were expecting him to maybe get drafted, where Dalton Kincaid got drafted to the Bills, and Michael Mayer slipped to the beginning of the second round, but it's like he didn't slip far. He went right in that range with Laporta and Musgrave and stuff, so Michael Mayer now coming out here, man, and you have Devontae Adams questionable right now. Jimmy Garoppolo questionable with the torso. I think Devontae Adams will play. It's more like a veteran rest, it looks like, for him today. But, Michael Mayer coming out with a big game this past week, man. 2 red zone targets, 75 receiving yards.
Yeah, and we talked about it with a few other receivers last week, and some guys just like guys better than other guys as far as who they want to throw to. And you noticed a immediate jump in his targets once they changed quarterbacks. So that being said, you will have a backup under center this week, one that is clearly favoring the tight end position.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. That is a great point. Those more inexperienced quarterbacks. Well, obviously Brian Hoyer's not inexperienced, but he does now stink. So he's going to be gravitating towards those tight ends, those short passes. And if you have Devontae Adams, maybe questionable with some issues, looks like, with his arms. So I like this for Jacoby Myers and Michael Mayer to have another up week. And just from like opportunity and college draft hype alone, Michael Mayer becomes an instant prospect for me to potentially buy into here, Steve. I'm very interested in his stock right now. He is printed in Mosaic. He's printed in Donruss Elite. And he's got quite a few rookie cards out because he's got the draft capital, and he has quite the reputation from Notre Dame. So there's some interesting Michael Mayer options right now. I'm looking on ComC.
That silver is kind of nice.
Silver for $727, and this one jumps off to me because it's only the one on here, and it's a little discount. If we sign in, it helps, right? When you sign in,
probably be maybe just over $6.
Yeah, let's check it out, man. Oh, I got to get the verification code. No. All right.
Too funny.
All right. Well, while that is doing that, Steve, another opportunity I want to talk about this week. Let me get that verification code. Yeah. Another opportunity I want to talk about this week is Kyren Williams, man. After I just put him on the thumbnail, and he got most of his yards here in the second quarter of this past week. This guy, I know that you go through the top players every week, the top 10 players. If you want to let us know where Kyren Williams is at, because I know that he's in the top 10 running backs, I'm sure, thus far through the season, with how many yards and touchdowns he's been putting up.
Yeah, I mean, he's the RB3 right now. The downside, though, Andy, he's going to miss a lot of time. So
he's going to miss a lot of time. Now, I don't think it's going to be super serious, Steve, from what I'm reading here, but it is significant. If you look at Kyren Williams, was using a scooter and had his ankle in a cast-like material. So that's definitely significant. That is definitely significant. But he's considered week to week. They're not actually pushing him to IR. So that's promising, right? That he could be back in a few weeks. But in the meantime, Steve, the guy I wanted to look at is another rookie who kind of had some fans in the dynasty community as we were entering the draft time period last year. Running back Zach Evans, because you also have Ronnie Rivers, the backup running back there for the Rams, also going injured, and it looks like now at this point it's going to be Zach Evans, the next man up, and he's a rookie. It's maybe a 6th-round draft pick from Ole Miss. He transferred from TCU, and at Ole Miss he was behind the Kendre Miller on the depth chart, so it's hard for him to produce a lot, but he still put up 10 touchdowns there in 2022 and 936 rushing yards. So with the 119 receiving yards on 12 receptions. So, I mean, this guy could potentially produce. He's got an interesting profile here.
I'm thinking that he probably gets sprinkled in. I think maybe at most he sees 30%. Only because if you look at who they elevated from the squad, Derek nailed it right there with Royce Freeman. They did sign Myles Gaskin, who is known to be like a passing down specialist. And Darrell Henderson, man, remember when he was mowing people over last year and then they just abruptly cut him? Such a weird thing. But that's the team he played for last year. And he's familiar with the organization. He's played with Matt Stafford before. So I think if there's any lead to that backfield committee that I would be terribly scared to deploy any of these guys, it would be Henderson. But, I mean, Evans could get in there for a couple snaps, have a couple good runs, protect the quarterback, and maybe get more opportunities because of it.
Yeah, I think that's the coach speak from Sean McVay right now, is that Zach Evans is kind of like the next man up. He did lose out to Ronnie Rivers, but at the same time, it looks like, and from a card flippability standpoint, I'm always looking for a rookie that's going to get a new opportunity. You see people gambling on Tyson Bagent already. Like, it's almost instantaneous when people hear about a quarterback getting injured. Then they go buy in the backup running back, but they don't always necessarily do that for the running back right away because of the volatility of the position. But when you and I know, and a lot of the guys out there that have been on the quest for a while know, that it's all about the quick flip, right? We're always looking to buy and then immediately relist. And so it's all about how low can we buy into a player that could potentially get 15 to 20 carries this upcoming weekend. And if that's the case, maybe you sprinkle in 4 or 5 targets. If he can just put up 75% of Kyren Williams' production, then that would be a huge win compared to what most of his cards are currently selling at. It's not much of a selection, though. I got to be honest with you right now. He's got his best card, Steve, is the Panini Black, and he's wearing the stinking Guardian cap and preseason practice uniform Guardian cap.
Terrible. Yeah, that's unfortunate, man. I mean, that's the only pro uniform. Well, sorry, pro uniform card he's got. Is there a mosaic, or is he in a college uniform?
He was not printed in mosaic due to the draft capital.
Man. Yeah, that just makes for a rough situation for investing, because if you look at it from the running back standpoint, you're looking for a quick flip, and a lot of times for a quick flip, you want like the most appealing situation possible, and having a college card of a guy that might be relevant maybe for 2 weeks or 3 potentially is kind of a scary potential situation. So
it is scary. It is scary. So invest at your own or buy at your own risk, guys.
I think
invest
with
at your
Zach
own risk.
Evans, this is a perfect guy that you might have pulled or been in a break and ended up stuck with this guy, and you're like, now what am I going to do with this thing? Well, this is your chance. This is a chance to maybe get this guy listed if you got some of his cards already, or find, like you said, some deals on ComC where there's access to having the card in hand right away. Or when I say on hand, I mean owning the card.
Able to resell it.
Right. Because if you buy Zach Evans now, you won't have him till after Sunday, which means you've missed on a week already. And they're on a bye next week.
That's not a good combination for flippability. I'll tell you that right now.
But again, Andy makes a good point. These are the kind of opportunities that players do draw a lot of interest, and actually very few times do people get these opportunities and make the most of them. But when they do, that's when you see these massive spikes. We've seen it with countless running backs over the past couple of years. We saw it with D'Ernest Johnson becoming an overnight sensation. And as you can see, he's relegated to, I think, third string running back duties on the Jaguars now. But he had a rookie ticket auto that became a $100 card overnight. So that just goes to show you what the possibilities are.
Yeah, and they're playing the Steelers this weekend, which a lot of people are like, oh, that's a tough defense. But in fact, the Steelers' run defense has been pretty bad this year, Steve. They've been 27th in yards allowed per carry and 19th overall. So they've been a well below average run defense. And they're obviously their pass rush, their pass defense has been better in terms of pressure on the quarterback, sacking the quarterback, generating turnovers, but they're still 30th in yards allowed per pass. So they're playing soft, and their run defense has not been great. So this does set up for a potential. I'm looking at ComC, Steve. I would say if it's not the Panini Black, I actually like this Luminance better. And here's a blue autograph Luminance numbered out of 50. You got the Rams logo, got the RC shield, got rookie auto, which, man, his auto is super weird. Like that's a backwards E in the form of a number 3 with like a perfectly printed Z. That's such a strange auto. But for that reason, I think this card's really rare, and this card looks really nice in hand. I would snipe this on COMC for $12. It's actually less than $12 because I'm still not signed in because I can't get to that verification code right now. That is a bummer. Shout out to Kamikaze. He resonates with us about the COMC verification code. But let's say I think it's 10% lower than what it is, or 5% lower than what it is.
It's probably like just over $10. Right around.
So right around $10, getting a rookie auto out of 50 when this guy really doesn't have anything better than this right now in the market, unless it's a rare Panini Black RPA. And then you've seen the photo quality that you're getting on that. So this is a much better card, in my opinion, with a lot less downside. Honestly, this card is perfect. I'm kind of bummed out about this verification code. I might have to let Steve run the show for a minute so I can access my other email to hit the verification code.
Use your phone, man.
Yeah.
I did want to say, though, while we're talking about the Rams, I know 2 weeks ago you and Carter were talking about talk about Stafford, and Stafford's played in our division for most of his career, and let me just say, how can you not appreciate this guy? I mean, one of the toughest, absolute toughest guys on the field. This guy just takes abuse and doesn't even flinch. He just gets up, keeps playing. I've seen him throw touchdowns with dislocated shoulders. I mean, they don't get any tougher than that, and I think he does have some Hall of Fame potential for sure. And man, how about we like exciting teams, Andy? We like young, exciting teams, but I think the guys that got counted out this year, probably they're one of those teams. And how could you not be excited about them this year?
Yeah, especially when you have like 5th-round Puka Nacua blowing up at the beginning of the season. That just reminds you how good Stafford is. And then Cooper Kupp steps right back in, and he's back into form. And yeah, and then it's like it reminds you, like, oh, Sean McVay maybe have lost some of his creativity last year, and the whole team was obviously on a Super Bowl hangover, but Sean McVay does come from that whole Shanahan coaching, Gary Kubiak coaching tree. So, he is a good play caller. And I think that they are going to keep a balanced game going forward to protect Stafford, because Stafford is such a valuable weapon to them. And I'm looking at Cooper Kupp right now, Steve, on our app, and he's starting to pop back up, man. Cooper Kupp is starting to pop back up in some of these cards, and it's good to see him come back into form, man. So I think that's another reason why it's exciting to attack players on the Rams. It feels like they've got a bunch of upward potential to spike almost every week. If they're starting and getting an opportunity in this Rams offense, I feel like you've got a pretty good shot to spike.
Stafford, passing wise, yardage wise, let's see. I know he's up there third, and he's only behind second by 2. I mean, so he is definitely chucking the ball, and he's chucking it a lot. So the touchdowns will come. He is kind of stuck behind a few of the guys in touchdowns, but they've been succeeding a lot in the run game, which is something they hadn't done in previous years. The touchdowns will come, especially now that Kupp's back, and they have more guys to lean on. So Stafford, if you're looking to maybe build the second half of your fantasy season up, you may want to look into him and getting a guy, or like a guy like Kiren. If you're off to a great start, 4-1 or 4-2 for that matter, go ahead and pick up a guy like him for trade off some of your depth to a guy that really needs some running back help.
Yeah, I never understood why these Topps Finest, the Finest Chrome cards from 2009 for Stafford sell for less than the Bowman Chrome and the Topps Chrome. I guess maybe that's kind of like the Mosaic of 2009. If you had to compare the values between like Optic, Prism, and Mosaic, or maybe Select Range, you have that base Topps Finest. But I like the field in the background, Steve. That's what makes it appealing to me. It has the field, and it still has that big rookie card logo, the way they used to do it, which I like. I wish they would bring that back.
I love that refractor, Andy, the Finest refractor.
Yeah, there's one with some nice phone photography. I mean, getting that card for about $100 with only 33 PSA 10s and 25 9s, 1/8. I mean, and you see like the price on that card. It's got a really good floor. I mean, someone bought it in a buy it now back in June 25th for $200. So I think that's one of those cards where you're going to run into a Stafford super collector, big Stafford fan. And like, yeah, man, there's only 33 PSA 10s of this card in the whole world. It does have a ton of eye appeal.
That's an incredibly low number, man.
Yeah, to be able to get that on like in an auction that ended Monday, October 9th for $115, although that's higher than the 2 previous transactions, still, I think a pretty solid deal. Like, there's some nice opportunities on Stafford.
Agreed. I think there's probably not a guy that's a skill position guy on that team that is necessarily a bad play. I mean, that whole offense is arrow up right now.
I want to see if they've got anything decent on COMC.
While you're looking at that, you know what really makes me sad? I'm a Puka guy. what makes me sad is, why did this guy have to pop off when there's no pro uniform cards of him available? So I can get one, to get to put on the desk here for the display, man, because it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah, you would have had to shell out some serious bucks. You would have had to shell out some serious bucks for one of those turn of the century autos.
Yeah.
We know Derek Richard wasn't. He's shelling out the big bucks for Quinton Judkins auto out of $4.99 for $5. Nice, man. Nice.
He's living in the future, man. He's way ahead of us on that. That's his cup of tea, man. He knows about those guys that we'll be talking about a year or two from now.
Hey, this is a big one, Steve. Kyler Murray is coming off the PUP. He's about to return from IR. He was limited at practice today. They said that doesn't mean he's going to play this week, but that he should play by week 8, Steve. That is unbelievable that Kyler Murray is getting geared up to play week 8. And I should believe it because I look at Aaron Rodgers' new injury timeline. And I mean, I don't know what they're injecting in these guys. Some kind of peptides, some DNA, some testosterone. Who knows, man? But it's working. These guys are coming back this quick. I have to pull up the Kyler market to see how it's reacting, but I've got to think that it's not too late to make a play, and that his market compared to Daniel Jones is probably still, I don't know. Do you think his market is lower than Daniel Jones now, or do you think it has bounced back up past Daniel Jones?
They're probably not too far off. I don't think they're too far off. There's definitely some people that are still holding on, and rightfully so. I mean, he had a really good run there, obviously, before the addiction to video games or lack of caring about his team's play calling and all that other fun stuff, football related stuff. But, one thing I do think is good is, they did actually improve their O-line this offseason. Clearly the defense is pretty good, Andy. They've stayed in games against some pretty tough teams. Their offense has kind of languished, but their run game, if you get Connor back, you get Kyler back, they have decent skill position guys, and I think those are guys that also need to be looked at here, as well as this gentleman here.
Yeah, man, and now we have even more relevant 2019 quarterbacks. We got Gardner Minshew going to start the rest of the season for the Colts. That's a big development, man, because AR was a poster boy. He was the poster boy for Panini coming in the 2023 draft class, with those other guys having the Fanatics exclusive autograph contract. And now AR's stock has taken a hit this year. I've even saw some people, it's a little trolly, but it's true, right? He's got to learn to take hits better, because he did get a fairly easy concussion, lost his balance, got like totally feet wiped out from underneath him, and smacked his head on the ground, concussed. They never let a guy come back the following week for that now. But AR was showing a lot of promise in the pass game. He was showing a lot of promise with his legs. We knew that was going to be there. And now he took on a design run, takes a bad hit, has to get shoulder surgery, season ending. Gardner Minshew coming into play, Steve. And these cards have gone up a little bit. Look at his base prism PSA 10. They went up 20%. You're like, wow. But it went from $10 to $15, or actually $25. Went to about $25 from some that were going crazy low, Steve. $10 for a base prism PSA 10. Back on August 8th. This was not this past weekend, but the weekend before, that the day of that Anthony Richardson hurt his shoulder.
Yeah, I think, this is kind of what, if you look at the hobby and you look at where guys tend to put most of their money, and we've talked about this before, there is a genuine, real reservation about guys that will put 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, or even if your budget's smaller, $100 on a guy that throws his body into linebackers at the quarterback position, justifiably so, because here you have probably one of the best physical specimens you've seen in the NFL in a long time, and few games into his career, he's already out for the year. So that just goes to show you, man, that it is a tough position, and you got to be made of steel to be able to play it.
So Kyler Murray, week 8, coming back. If you can get this base prism PSA 10 for under $40, I mean, look, heck, there was an auction 3 days ago on Sunday, which is a perfect time to sell Kyler Murray, right? It was sell my Kyler Murray PSA 10 in week 6 on game day. Like, come on, man. What? But anyways, yeah, you got it. This is obviously a consignment, so somebody sent them that card. Could have been, who knows, a estate sale, who knows. And they said, hey, you got to move this. And the guy said, all right, put it in auction. I'll force a sale. They sold it for $21. And look, you had another one that same night, 2 minutes later, sell for $36. It looks like a little bit of a bidding war. He had 2 extra bids on that one. And that's, I mean, it's not obviously not a ton, but look at where that card was, Steve. This time last year, $100.
And it wouldn't take a whole lot to get it to 100. Now, to get it back to 200, yeah, it would. But, a couple of above average games or one really good game, I think you'd see that pretty close to that 100 again.
Yeah, I think you would, man. I think you would. And they've got some good weapons. Marquise Brown, Michael Wilson, Zach Ertz, Trey McBride. So get some production. Get James Conner back out there.
Andy, I'm a McBride guy. He was first tight end taken last year, and finally, some usage. Andy, finally, he played a lot down the stretch last year because of Ertz being injured, but you saw him actually take the lion's share of the snaps at the tight end position this week, maybe indicating they could be prepping him for a more prominent role, I think.
Yeah, and they could trade Zach Ertz with the trade deadline coming up and October 31st. So just another 13 days away, Steve.
Yeah. And, that's interesting because that's close and we haven't even really begun to talk about it. In fact, there hasn't actually been a whole lot of trade rumors quite yet. But what a better time to start speculating on our own.
So I have a couple of trade rumors. And, obviously the Denver Broncos are prime candidates for trading right now. You got to think they are. I mean, it could be as much as Russell Wilson, right? I mean, he's got to be a potential trade candidate. He hasn't been playing too bad, but the Broncos are 1-5, and they're paying him an insane amount of money. And it would be nice to get some draft capital back for him. Either that or trade away Jerry Jeudy, who is due for a contract. Cortland Sutton could save you like $14 million a year. So I mean, like, I'm looking at these guys that are on this Broncos team. This might be time to rebuild. None of these guys are Sean Payton guys either. So I got to think if Sean Payton's saying, well, hey, it's not me, man. We got to rebuild. We got to get rid of some of these guys like Russell Wilson and Jerry Jeudy. He's over there mocking Steve Smith. We can't be having this.
You know what? There's definitely two different ways to look at it. And I think there's probably a bit of truth to both. And I do think that they move a lot of their skill position guys, the receivers primarily that are taking up a lot of money. And Russ probably is stuck there because of the amount they're paying him, probably. But yeah, the Sean Payton argument, unfortunately, is a valid argument, even though, I don't necessarily have a reason to stick up for the guy. But to be fair, that organization he had in New Orleans was a lot of stuff that he built up over a few years versus like inheriting a whatever situation. You could call it good, you can call it bad. That's your opinion. But I think they keep the O-line in the running game because that's actually pretty decent. But, I mean, Jeudy definitely has potential, but, is Steve Smith right, Andy? I mean, I think you might be right.
Yeah. I think he is too, man. I think Judy's a jag.
And I think that he relies too heavily on what people think about him and that he's good. He hasn't really gone out and shown people that he is, even though a lot of people treat him like he's still like wide receiver one type guy. He hasn't shown it at all. And maybe that could be, honestly, that's the kind of guy that could go to a team like the Chiefs and be a difference maker.
Or the Chargers, right? Filthy says Jerry Jeudy to the Pats. Derek says the Broncos saved $26 million cutting Wilson after this year. So I think if you're betting, like if you're buying a guy, like so you could target it, Steve, right? You could try and target the guy that's already on the team that's going somewhere, or you could target the guy that's behind him on the depth chart on the team already that's going to then become the starter once the current starter gets traded. So that would be, man, and people got excited about this guy last year. Jared Stidham.
And Mims.
And Marvin, and Marvin Mims, man. Yep, we were definitely excited about Marvin Mims, and he hasn't been getting hardly any targets, and the snap share is low, and that's because of, the current usage and depth chart situation. So let's I mean, he's definitely the rookie to make a play on, Steve. When you look at the second round draft capital, there is a lot of, hey, this guy can take the top off of defense, man. He's got the speed. He's electric. And if he becomes a starter, his cards are going to go through the roof because he's also a rookie and he has limited sports card supply.
And he's got that one thing that everybody craves, whether you're in fantasy and cards or either just one or the other, big play ability. That is what everybody wants. They want that highlight reel play, and that drives a lot of excitement. That'll drive somebody out to a buy it now auction. That'll drive someone out to the waiver wire. That'll drive someone out to the trade page and try to get him from you or vice versa. So that is a pretty big deal. And I've heard from a lot of different sites that most likely both wide receivers on the Broncos ahead of him will probably get traded.
Yeah. Marvin Mims right now, to your point, Steve, he has a 24.6 yards per reception average on 12 targets, and that he converted 10 receptions. So when he goes off, he's going to go off big, man, because it's going to be big plays. It's going to be deep plays. But he could obviously step into a much higher targets per route run, much higher route share and target share if Jerry or Sutton were to get traded. So there's not a whole lot of cards as you're seeing here on eBay, and I'm not crazy about this one at 22 now. That's not mine. It is. That is mine, Steve. That is mine. And full transparency here, guys. I did not realize it was mine until we clicked it, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not a fan of the 2210, but then I feel like I looked at Mims on stream with you guys in the past couple weeks.
No, you probably have it at like $19.99, and they got marked up by eBay or by not being logged in.
I might have to reprocess that thing as elite, but it looks
good,
what,
Steve. It's funny because before you said that, I was actually about to say, because it's one of his only pro uniform cards, because it's a color match, I think it's actually probably the nicest one on the page there. Unfortunately, that being said, it is priced as such because there's just not a lot of other good options.
That's right, baby. We're going to flip that thing if they trade Jeudy or Sutton. I'm here for it. I think Rage is here for it too. And he's ready to talk about it. Todd Gurley style. He's a prime Todd Gurley style, or better yet, prime Devonta Freeman fantasy chart topping days style. Oh, so, man. Steve, hit us with this is going to be fun. Hit us with your top 10 running backs, right? Are you doing weekly order, or are you going for the season right now? Are you going to hit us with your running back rankings?
Yeah, I've got them pulled up season totals right now. So let's see. I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll go 12 just because usually there's at least 10 or 12 teams in your league. So McCaffrey's still holding down the top spot. Mostert not far behind. Could you imagine telling someone that Raheem Mostert would be the second running back on the board through 6 weeks? A lot of people wouldn't believe you. Kyren Williams, 3, but he's hurt. Slowly creeping up the ladder, Andy Travis Etienne, a guy we both like. Devin Achane, number 5, despite playing, 2-3 games? Something like that. Zach Moss, very nice at number 6, probably a guy that's going to get traded. Kenneth Walker, 7. I think that he will continue to climb that ladder as the season goes on. Henry, 8. David Montgomery, 9. We know that he didn't get much done this week because of his injury. He could easily be in the top 5 if not for that. Swift, 10. And then honorable mentions at 11 and 12. Brian Robinson, Bijan Robinson.
Nice, man. So check this out. All right. I've got a few different guys here pulled up. So let's pull up what Todd Gurley's rookie ticket autos are selling for right now. PSA 10. Here's an auction 2 days ago talking about some, I guess you call him retired. Yeah, I mean, his knees won't let him play anymore, so he's got to be retired. Rookie auto PSA 10 closed an auction 2 days ago for $41. You have a raw one, rookie ticket auto, $20. Buy it now. That is not just dirt cheap, like give it away free. And then you've got Devonta Freeman, which you could get his rookie cards from 2014 here. Topps Chrome rookie auto. That's a wonderful on-card rookie card for $15, or a National Treasures booklet with the big patch and the on-card rookie auto out of 99 for $20. And those are cards you could buy right now. And then it's like, okay, well, how closely correlated is player performance to the sports card market? And I hear these running backs and stuff aren't flippable. Even especially as the guys get older and they're still active. Well, here's some Raheem Mostert data for you guys. What about a PSA 8 rookie ticket auto selling right now for $100? This sold for $100 yesterday in a buy it now. And then you had an auction today of a raw one with a questionable corner here that sold for $66 in auction today. Now, Steve, if we go back before the season, what do you think the lowest price is we're going to find on a Raheem Mostert
before
rookie ticket auto? In the past 90 days.
15 or $20 maybe. Yeah.
Yep. $15 before the season. So the person that bought Raheem Mostert just bullish on the Dolphins as a whole. Like, remember, I was buying Tua and Waddle. I should have been attacking the entire offense. I should have been saying, okay, well, if I'm going to buy Tua, then not only am I going to buy Waddle and I'm going to buy Tyreek Hill, no matter how, painful that may be to me, just because I mean, Tyreek Hill's a great player, but I think he's kind of obnoxious the way he is, like, off the field. And some people may roast me in the chat for that. And then, like, I should have been also attacking the running game. That should have been Mostert. Jeff Wilson would have missed out on, but now he's coming back, and I'm sure Jeff Wilson will have some weeks. And then A-Chain went off, man. And so I had some nice flips for A-Chain. I know some guys that had some nice flips first. But I should have been attacking that entire offense to really stack that bet.
Here's the thing, and I know that football, more than any other segment of the hobby, is relevancy. Hyper relevancy is a sensitive thing for active players. Even the guys like Tom Brady, will have a steep drop off after they stop playing. That's really just the reality of it. But the guys that are that leave a nice trail behind them and are memorable at their position, guys like Tomlinson, Frank Gore. If you actually go back and look up something as simple as like an auto, something as simple as like a refractor of their rookies, much more scarce cards and actually have a lot of value even to this day, even despite the fact that they haven't played in quite a long time.
Diamond Dogs. Ruff, 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 ruff. Oh, we got a Carson Cruz sighting in the chat. Man, dude, Carson, you wrote us a book here, man. Hold on, let me take a deep breath. I love your comment, though. I'm loving the first bit of it. He said he recently scooped up a couple dozen Nico Collins Silver Prism Optic Hollow serial numbered colored prism rookies for 1 to 3 each. What are your thoughts on him being the long-term WR1 for Stroud, Houston? Well, Carson, you know our thoughts, man. You know our thoughts. He's been an alpha. He was misused at Michigan. We liked him whenever he was a rookie. The second year, they just had Brandon Cooks. There wasn't the opportunity. The offensive scheme was ran by either no coach or Lovie Smith. I mean, it was like every game was a slog and a grind, and you had a combination of Davis Mills or Tyrod Taylor for a time period. Steve, I feel like there's probably 2 other backup quarterbacks coming in there, but now Stroud he's a true gunslinger, man. He's a true gunslinger. This team is aggressive, and they want to win games. You got some creativity there. They're giving him some big boy passes, and Nico is feasting, man. So I think Nico's prices are going to continue to go up because they were so low. It's like, they were like Kiren Williams prices, except Nico's a wide receiver, plays a different role for different teams. So I like his ability to sustain his growth and continue building upon it into next year.
Yeah, could you imagine, Andy, what his prices would be if he was a rookie this year or he was a rookie last year? Unfortunately, that little 2 years of being stagnant does hurt a little bit, but on the flip side, as we've shown, that presents a entry opportunity for guys that you have good faith in, that you think will pop off at some reason.
Corey comes in the chat with a great reminder for everybody to buy Nick Chubb. I wonder what the Nick Chubb rookie auto market looks like. I mean, he's got a pretty rare rookie auto market, Steve, from 2018. Just the Prism Silvers alone from 2018, Steve, are pretty rare.
I was looking, and right after he got hurt, and there's still a lot of people that are buying hard, man. There's people that are still buying hard. So people do realize how good he is. And, of all the active running backs, has probably been the most consistent and the most likely to be a Hall of Fame type running back.
All right, so we've got a buy now today of an elite draft picks. That's in the Georgia uniform. Yeah, draft picks out of 20, horizontal format, sticker rookie auto, $51. These are draft picks cards. Here's a leaf slabbed one that's from Prestige. It does have a rookie card shield, but sticker auto, numbered out of 10, $65.
Look, Andy, I'm not gonna lie. That's I realize that's an honors 1 of 1, but that seems like a good buy, honestly, at that price still.
Man, I think that's even cooler when it's got the handwritten buyback, or honors, whatever you call it, 1 of 1 on the front of it. And these are on-card rookie autos. I think the gold vinyl finish is probably the sickest finish of all. You just know when you see that gold vinyl finish, it just immediately like, oh crap, there's something really nice. That's like one of the best cards in the entire hobby.
Dollar signs start popping off the page.
Yeah, immediately. It doesn't matter who the player is. You see that gold vinyl, and it starts popping. But it is pretty wild to see the prices that Chubb is still selling for. Now I've got to think that they can go even lower than this, as we're getting into this holiday season here, Steve. And I like to remind people that basketball season, I only pay attention to this for buying football cards. Basketball season starts next week.
Yeah, and we're in the baseball playoffs right now, so there is eyes other places. But I think that honestly, we're just heating up with football. There's not any guys or any teams that are running away with this thing. There's a couple of one-loss teams, but it's still a point where just about anybody except the Panthers are still in it. So.
All right, Steve. What are we at on wide receivers? I want to hear the updated wide receiver rankings this week, week 7.
Let's have a gander here. All right, Tyreek Hill at 1. I think we expected that. Stephon Diggs 2, DJ Moore 3, Keenan Allen 4, Adam Thielen 5. A couple of old heads holding it down. AJ Brown 6, Jamar Chase 7, Puka Nacua 8, Justin Jefferson 9, Nico Collins, boom, number 10, and Devontae Adams, Amon-Ra 11 and 12.
Yeah, and Justin Jefferson's he's gonna continue to fall off of that. He'll probably be up there for one more week. And Jordan Addison did come through with a touchdown. He got their team's only offensive touchdown, so that's saying something. Even though T.J. Hawkinson, just like you called it last week, Steve, which we are going to be looking at our underdog pick'em results. We had some interesting results you might want to stay tuned for, and then some bets we're making this week, but. TJ Hawkinson was the target leader there, man. And the two names that jump out at me because that we saw slide, like everybody, we should have known, we should have always been drafting Stephon Diggs and Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill, like as early as you want to, as you can get them in the first round. But yet some of the, especially Devontae Adams and Stephon Diggs slid into the beginning to middle of second round. You and I saw it. Even Tyreek Hill. I remember a draft you were in. You were like so pumped. You got Tyreek Hill at like pick 7 or 8. That was happening there as well. It's just like it's crazy. Now you see these guys on top. So I've got to pull up here Stephon Diggs next to. So let me pull up Stephon Diggs rookie ticket autos. You just saw what we were looking at with the running backs. So I want to see what Stephon Diggs is doing, Steve.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's out of 23. But
yeah, college ticket auto. You have a lot of, but I mean, look at this. Horizontally formatted Topps Inception. This isn't serial numbered. I don't think these patches from Topps were in sets like this. I don't think they're any better than what Panini's doing.
At least it's 2 colors, although I think that's actually game worn.
Let's see. The relic contained in this card is not from any specific game, event, or season. Yeah. When in 2014 and 2015, I find a lot of, because I'm a Mike Evans super collector, so like I find a lot of Mike Evans patches and 2015 patches that really from Topps that really seem a lot like Panini patches today. Not gonna lie.
At least like I said, at least the patch is nice, and you have some nice stitching on there, even, but not bad. I mean, I think that the fact that it's horizontal hurts it just a hair, but
yeah, and in fact, I mean, you see his rookie ticket autos are pretty rare when people are spending 25 on that Prism Draft Picks rookie or his college ticket auto. It doesn't even say it does have RC Shield, but it's a season ticket college season ticket auto for $55. That's pretty $55 for that kind of car is pretty impressive. I've also noticed a little uptick this week in Khalil Shakir, which is wild because you see this auction sold yesterday for $3.51, but I saw a buy it now sold of the horizontally formatted rookie ticket auto from last year of Khalil Shakir sell for $30. I know that's the short print, Steve, but it's like, it's horizontal. Is it really that much rare than the regular rookie ticket? I don't know. I know people are definitely buying the Bills passing game over the run game. Let me tell you that. And the Bills fan base is growing, and so people will pay up for some of these Bills players, especially if they're having these spike games.
Yeah, I mean, even if Shakir doesn't really do a whole lot, you're not in too deep if you're getting it for under $5.
Devontae Adams, rookie auto. And then Keenan Allen was the other one that jumped off at me, Steve, because I mean, we knew he was capable of being up there, but it was a matter of him staying healthy. And so far, he's been the one consistent thing in that offense. If anything, is Herbert that's letting Keenan Allen down. Keenan Allen's been able to take everything Herbert's given him plus, right?
He missed him a little bit.
He missed him, man. He missed him.
But yeah, I mean, you said originally, but then you did take it back about Quentin Johnston. So I know that there was a lot of hype around him, but you did take it back very early in the game. So good for you on that. After we saw like one preseason game, I was like,
You know why? You know why I was originally on him because of the draft capital. Yeah. I mean, Derek out there, man. He's like, no. Quentin Johnston's got the higher draft. You got to draft him over A-Chain. Got to draft him over A-Chain. He's got the draft capital. I remember being in a rookie draft, asking for his advice, and he said, "Go with the draft capital. Follow the draft capital." And here comes, fifth round Puka Nacua. Here comes Devin A-Chain. Now Zach Evans is going to make a name. Watch Sean Tucker make a name for himself later in the season. Who else am I missing?
I might have been one of the only Keenan Allen truthers that was just saying, just stick with the man. I've had him on my keeper team since he was just about a rookie, man. I would never plan on getting rid of that guy.
And Keenan Allen shares a rookie year with the one and only Travis Kelce, now world famous. Of course, Kansas City made short work last Thursday night. And at home with Taylor Swift hanging out with Mama Kelce, of course. And you got some pretty impressive Keenan Allen solds here, man. Well, that's a sick card. That's a grail card right there.
There's a lot going on there, Andy. The guy, he's still on his rookie team. How rare is that? And how rare is it that card is literally a jersey match?
Yeah, Keenan Allen's always been a great separator, man. Great route runner. This guy gets work done. He's funny too. So I think Keenan Allen's just like a fun player to buy into. I kind of want to have more Keenan Allen in my collection, even though I might be buying up a little bit. Like, let's look at the chart for Keenan Allen. I mean, obviously you can't compare him to Kelce, even though Kelce is another guy, like you mentioned, that's been on the same team his entire career. It's like buying Mike Evans. It would be devastating for one of these three guys to get traded. I can't imagine what Green Bay fans were feeling like when Devontae got traded. I don't know if they ever, felt like he was going to be a lifer. Obviously, you think Travis Kelce's going to be a lifer. You would think that Keenan Allen is a lifer at this point, but with the wide receiver position like this, without the rings there, obviously Mike's got a ring now, but without the rings there for Keenan Allen, it's interesting. They could go someplace. Obviously, Kelce's just dominating. And I pulled Mike in there too. Let me get him out of there. But Kelce's obviously dominating the sold volume. He's also got a much higher population. Like, look at his PSA 10, Steve. Let's pull in the pop here. 575 Topps Chrome PSA 10s for Travis Kelce. 31% PSA 10 hit rate. So hard to get 10s on these raw 2013 Topps Chromes. Right around one year high. So he's doing about what he did in the Super Bowl right now. That's a little, I guess you call it Taylor Swift effect right there.
Oh, for sure.
Compared to Keenan Allen. Compared to Keenan Allen, who's only got 89 of these things. So that's why you're getting the 56% PSA 10 hit rate. That's a small sample size anomaly, I think. And then, third is 61 nines, 38%, and 6/8. But look, I mean, you could get one right now for under $50. You can probably get one right now for under $50. There's a buy it now win October 1st for $50. But
30 on the third too, man.
Yeah, $30 auction on the third. Much lower. So I think there's obviously, like I've always thought this, when you looked at Geno Smith and we were on Geno Smith, And I did flip like a lot of my Geno Smith cards. I'm still holding, I think, one rookie ticket auto, and I'm holding another one. And I should have I got some offers, but I was like, nah, you know what? I got them so cheap though. I mean, there's still a lot of season left for Geno and the Seahawks. Kenneth Walker is playing incredible. They're doing a lot for him. He looks awesome. But I digress, Steve. There's a big opportunity for 2013 guys like Keenan, Geno, these guys that aren't Travis Kelce, to buy the raw cards and submit them and try and get tens. It's tough to grade them though, right, Steve? When you're looking on eBay, you're looking on COMC to grade these raw cards. Yeah, that's tough, man. How do you do that?
Yeah, but here's the cool thing is, look at how dominant both of these guys are, and you could make the argument that it's worth every penny, even though some of their cards are a little pricey. Not as much Allen as Kelce, but I mean, heck, there's cards of guys that are just out now that will probably never amount to anything that are as much as both of these guys. So it's a solid buy from a PC perspective. Prism Auto, $35, man. There's guys out there from the 2023 class right now that you can buy college uniform cards of for that price, or you could buy this. And
second year Prism. The thickness, the quality of this card is awesome. And you've got an incredibly rare rookie Prism Auto that you picked up for $35. I mean, the Russell Wilson base Prism raw from 2012 is $35. Which one would you rather have? The Keenan Allen Prism rookie auto or the Russell Wilson raw base Prism?
And if Herbert's only going to keep ascending as the season goes on, you got to feel good about Keenan Allen. I mean, the man had a 40-point game early in the fantasy season already.
Yeah, when you talk about rest of season league winners, it would be Keenan Allen. Obviously, and this is what is like nice about the cards, right? If you talk to a fantasy owner and they have Keenan Allen, they are not going to sell him to you right now. There's no way in hell they sell him to you, especially with the Chargers' difficulties on defense. They are not going to sell him to you. So I would say the play on Keenan Allen is almost optimal in sports cards. You could buy him for cheaper in sports cards than you could in fantasy. Like if we looked at Keenan Allen's DraftKings pricing this week for daily fantasy, I got to go pull him up now because I'm guessing he's probably going to be in like that 7,500 range when Justin Jefferson's like 9K if he was in there. But let's say like Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, those guys will probably be in that 8 to 9K range, and I guarantee you Keenan Allen will be right there. And he's got a lot of sports card benefits to him with that whole quality of 2013, how you can get them kind of cheap on some of them, and you can grade them. I mean, they just have some nice like stayability.
Yeah, and we talked about the rankings. He's the 4th overall, and he's had a bye week already. So got to feel good, man. You got to feel good about it.
All right, Steve. Are there any more major injury takeaways or rankings that you wanted to go over real quick before we power through the rest of the week 7 slate?
Let's see. We did running back and receiver. We might as well do the quarterbacks. Do the 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
And I'll pull up the PFF finishes that we did while you're going through those.
All right. We got Josh Allen at 1. No surprise there. Tua, 2. No surprise there. Hurts, 3. I think you're seeing after the first few weeks, Cream kind of rising to the top a bit. You had some more obscure guys through the first couple of weeks, but Cousins, 4. Mahomes, 5. Goff, 6. Only 2 points separate Goff, Mahomes, and Cousins. Kind of cool. Herbert slowly climbing up at 7. Russell Wilson somehow up there at 8. Purdy at 9. He could be working his way down that ladder, though, Andy, after what we saw this week. Howell at 10. And then you've got CJ Stroud, Fields, 11 and 12.
It's wild, man. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. But I love this view because you can kind of see the guys how they've dipped. And we noted that. I mean, there was a crazy dip there on Justin Fields. I know. Shout out to our guy Taps, man, because he just said, no, I'm not even gonna buy the fact that he's bad at all. And he was buying all through weeks 2 and 3. Like he bought a Justin Fields downtown. I think it might have even been PSA 10 if I remember correctly for like $550 or something. It was like he was just smashing the auctions just continuously. So and then he spiked and then he had, the 2 good weeks and now he's got the thumb. So now he's going to dip back down. I mean, this guy is almost as volatile as a running back, but man, the ups are super high and then the dips are pretty low. So it's kind of wild to watch how these players can swing on a weekly basis in football card values at the same time. It's directly correlated, man, pretty much with the performance.
Now you got to ask yourself, is Fields going to present another buying opportunity with most likely a miss of this week and maybe 1 or 2 more weeks, depending on how bad the dislocated thumb is? And, if not, his prices will stay the same. That might make some good listing opportunities or in some cases buying opportunities, as you saw a week 2 finish and a week 1 finish back to back.
All right, so what do we got for tight end?
Tight ends, you say? All right. Here we go. We got Kelce up at the top with Laporta. They were switching. Laporta was actually first the previous week. Andrews, Hawkinson at a close 3 and 4. Kmet now not far behind Hawkinson at 5. Schultz, Kittle, Evan Ingram, and Jonnu Smith. And then you've got Dallas Goedert and Kyle Pitts, who are quickly rising the ranks. And those are guys that if you can buy cheap, you may want to now. And I don't mean just in the card aspect. I mean in your leagues, you may be able to go and trade for those guys if you can get them at a value.
Yeah, man. Bingo. Ding, 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 ding. That's a good formula for future success right there, man. I was sitting right behind Sam Laporta at the Bucs game, and it was interesting, man, to watch him because he would come out of the game, he'd rest, he would sit down, he was using one of those massage guns to like massage the back of his leg and stuff, and then they brought him in. They brought him in off the field. I wouldn't have noticed this if I was watching the TV because first I would have been watching Red Zone, and then they're not showing you how the players are running on and off the field. You got to rely on going to follow some like accounts on Twitter that share snap counts every drive of players, right? And or you got to be watching like the all 22 footage, or just like watching that game and they happen to show it. But Laporta came into the game a couple times. He came into the game only for them to directly scheme him a touchdown pass. It didn't necessarily get converted, but that was the intent for Sam Laporta's. Like, he is a high value weapon to the Lions, man. So this guy, if there's any dip on him that you can find below comps, I would absolutely be buying it. And if you're ripping them out of a pack, I mean, those are guys you definitely want to list like 20 to 30% higher than what the comps are today, because we're looking at a playoff Lions team right here. And Steve and I were talking about it before, man. I mean, these Lions fans are convinced this is their year. I got to agree with them. I mean, I got to agree with them, man.
Yeah. They look good. Again, Laporta probably going to be one of the harder ones to find a deal on of that grouping. But there's definitely some guys, Goddard, on a team that's only got one loss, and he's just coming back to form. And Pitts, who basically has been, asleep at the wheel, or the team's been asleep at the wheel on him for the last 2 seasons, now putting 2 top 10 outings together in back-to-back weeks. Now's the time, because, they're actually throwing 30-plus times a game, and that's pretty much what you're going to need to get some productivity out of them.
All right, so the matchup we all want to ask about, we all want to see, man, and it's the future matchup, not week 7, but it's the Lions at the Cowboys, unless for some chance it is. But it's Jared Goff versus Dak Prescott. All right, Dak Prescott is actually on the upward trend now after this past week, man. He's on the upward trend. I am not sold, Steve. And I got to think that if Dak's cards are going up, like on this Prism PSA 10, here to a trend of 242, that there's no way something's wrong with that trend. That looks like a silver Prism PSA 10. It does. And it says buy it now, but something ain't adding up, man. Somebody paid $1,100. No way.
Yeah. There's something very odd there.
So that was totally skewing the data from the outside perspective. All right, so the more average transaction for Dak right now, but look at the difference: 131.50 last Friday, now 150 Tuesday night after that Monday night win over the Chargers. So, if I can get Jared Goff around that Dak, it's going to be tough, man. Look at this. Wednesday, buy it now on Goff, Prism PSA 10, 250. So he's now a full $100 more than Dak for the Prism PSA 10. People are starting to really buy into Jared Goff.
Oh yeah. I know someone earlier in the chat said something about that using our advice has been helpful. If you've been following long enough, you know that you could have got in on this card probably for what, Andy? What was it, about a year and a half ago? Maybe $30?
Well, the 52-week low is $61. Look at this time last year, this $61 card. That was before they took off there at the end of the season. He started having a good, they started finally putting it together there towards the end of the season.
31.
Yeah. Look at these 31s, man. November. And so that's why, Goff wasn't playing terrible, but there were ups and downs, and they were struggling, and they were still losing the games. Well, this year, they're winning the games, man. They might have some close games, but then they're pulling away. They're continuing to produce, and they're winning the games. And the Lions are now looking like one of the premier teams to beat in the NFC. And especially after a week where you have both the Eagles get knocked off by the Jets and the 49ers get knocked off by the Browns, it only makes the Lions stand out even more, So.
And they are, honestly, I really thought, full transparency, that game against Tampa would be much closer. The Tampa defense is not bad, but that's just a testament to how good Goff played. I know last year your biggest critique of him was his QBR under pressure, which is actually 20-something points higher this year than it was last year. So he's definitely figured out whatever that issue was.
Philly said this is a scoff at Goff free zone.
That's right. No scoffing in here.
All right, man. Let's hop into this. Let's hop into this week 7 slate. See if we can put in a couple slips in. I've got a couple favorites. I've got some interesting tidbits to share about Underdog Fantasy in the week 7 slate. So I think we go ahead and hop into that, Steve, after a word from our friends at nooffseason.com.
What's up, Football Card Quest? I'm Paul Hickey, co-host of the Sports Card Strategy Show right here on the nooffseason.com Sports Card Network. Be sure to check out our other great shows on the network by visiting nooffseason.com. And of course, check out all the great content that Andy's putting out at footballcardquest.com to help you make money flipping football cards to fund your PC, fund your life. All right, everybody, here's Football Card Quest.
That's right, guys. Right there in the banner, you can see it. Keep 'em web app. I get asked this question in the comments section a lot. If you guys want to get access to this app that we're looking at the historical graded card data and the comparing and the hype index is in here and everything, go to that website, footballcardquest.com, and click that button in the top right that says Go Premium.
Yes, sir. Andy, before we get too far off of that page, there is one matchup I want to talk about, and since you had the Keep 'em web app open, I want to see Goff and Lamar Jackson comps, because I know the big topic between me, you, and Carter was how good Lamar was going to be this year, and I think I was the only opposing voice there, and now we get to see them play each other this week.
Well, let's check on that. So we've got to pick a card that's comparable between the two because Lamar's got more cards than Goff.
Yeah, there's the Donruss, there's the two optics.
Yeah, we could do the Donruss. All right. So that's got the most sold volume for Lamar too, and it's down right now about 30%. If we look at let's just go out to the 1 year chart. Yeah, he's actually down quite a bit, man. He's actually dipped quite a bit the past week or so.
Look at that pop.
Yeah, a little pop here in the last day or so. We had a $65. Of course, it's a couple buy it now, $71 buy it now, $60 and a $65 buy it now. So yeah, some nice buy it nows after a bunch of auctions, as you can see, even one as low as $36.
That's a good.
And
that's a good
you
price.
got look at the population on this PSA 10 though, man. 5,490.
I mean, everyone that owns that card submitted it. It seems like
5,490 compared to the Jared Goff based Donruss that has only 511.
Oh man!
I mean, just a night and day population report difference on a base card, man. So that's how you could almost paint an argument that Jared Goff has got some more room to grow. But now, I mean, that's why they were we just couldn't bring it up every week enough. Like if you go back to all our streams before the season started, how many times we recommended to buy Jared Goff, it was probably
once a week.
I mean, we could probably make an entire video and it'd be strung together, all different clips of us recommending buy Jared Goff, and we'd make an entire video of that. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to see like the price difference, and they were at the same price as the Lamars are now. Like they were in that $35 to $45 range, you know. July 13th, July 21st, $30,
52 week low, $9.99.
Yeah, people really believe in. Look how reactionary this is. September 5th, September 6th, September 10th. And you know, it's not a sexy play because he's not the rookie, he's not the second year guy. But what is sexy about it? I mean, he does throw a good fastball, and he does kind of look like Ryan Gosling. So, you know, he's got the weapons, man. They've got the weapons. They've got the line. They've got the creative play calling. It's just, man, it's good stuff, man.
Carson said, are there any defensive players to buy on the Lions? Yeah, man. Diamond hit it on the head. Hutchinson is probably the main one.
Aiden Hutchinson.
The upside to be, you know, the next Bosa on the edge there.
Yeah, I would even say buy Brian Branch because he's been really good whenever he's healthy and he's in there. I also like just buying the linebacker, Jack Campbell. You know, his snap share hasn't been that high. They've kind of eased him in. Like his snap share, I think at most has been like 50%. And this is like, I only know this because we have a couple dynasty leagues that Steve is actually in, a couple of them where we have full defensive rosters. Like we have to start every week. You've got to start a defensive lineman, a linebacker, a defensive back, and then you get 3 defensive flex positions. So it's fun because I've got the scoring to where if they get a sack, they get an interception, they're basically scoring like a touchdown for a skill position player. That's their touchdown, man. That's what they got to get, you know.
It is. It's fun because it does add a nice, change of pace to the game. I had Harrison Smith and what's his name, the D-back for the Bucks, score 30 points each 2 weeks ago for me. I mean, you get a pick for a touchdown and a forced fumble and all these some crazy point totals that can go into these things. So it adds a whole new dynamic rather than just saying, hey, I have team A's defense. You actually have like a guy from each position, and that makes it a whole lot more fun.
Filthy said a last-minute Parsons sack won him his matchup last week. That's awesome. I know, man. It is tougher to keep up with because I'll tell you what. Like I've been on the weekly report for having the highest amount of defensive points on my bench. Like I realized I had Levante David on my bench last week. I didn't realize it. But he put up 20 points in this past game just with like tackles alone. He got 1 sack. So he got that touchdown and he got a bunch of tackles. So it's like his yardage. But yeah, it was it's fun, man. There's a lot of fun guys. So Jack Campbell's a guy to invest in on the Lions defense as well, who's got that draft capital. So he's printed in all the product and you could easily get on them.
Since we're talking Lions, I know that this will resonate with you because this is a topic we talked about during the draft this year. And I said Lions need to go draft Devin Witherspoon. I think you probably agreed. And then they took Jahmyr Gibbs. In retrospect, seeing what the Lions have done basically without Jahmyr Gibbs, don't you think that probably would have been a much better pick for them?
Yeah, it would have.
I mean, that guy is, maybe the only shining star on that defense for the Seahawks right now.
Yeah, man, he's good. He's definitely making a run for DPOY. In fact, I'm gonna look up rookie of the year Vegas odds right now because I want to see how that line has shifted. But I will agree with Filthy here. He said Alexander Anzalone been looking good too. Yeah, and I saw him down there in person. He's one of the bigger, beefier guys on the defense. He looks jacked, man. This guy looks like a freaking Viking or something. It's like all these Viking-looking players on the Lions.
Like the
next
Clay
dude,
Matthews.
It's crazy. You got a center named Ragnow. And you got,
Dude, Penny Sewell's a nice buy too. Honestly,
such a beast, man.
Those freak of nature O linemen actually have a hobby segment, Andy.
They have a huge hobby segment. I mean, look at Jason Kelce autos, and I mean that's obviously the top end.
Joe
but
Thomas is arguably one of the most valuable non-defensive or skill position guys that's out there. He's actually a very sought after guy.
So, and you were telling me earlier that before the stream, we were talking about the Bears, of course, and you were telling me about how Jalen Johnson is on the trade block because they can get so much for him. It's like every time they have he's been one of the highest graded defensive backs by PFF actually this year. So he's doing really well. And Jaquan Brisker, he's pretty decent too. And I think they're thinking about trading Jalen Johnson. I think that might be a move the Bears make. And they already right now they're projected to get the top 2 picks because they get the number 1 from Carolina and they got that in the bag. And then they've got their first round pick, which would be number 2. So I don't know what they do with them. I mean, this is crazy. Like, but Jalen Johnson, I think he's probably got a pretty decent market as well.
He's I think probably one of my biggest PCs that I have. So I'd be pretty disappointed by that. But here's the thing is if you have a number 1 and number 2 pick, those guys aren't going to be owed a lot of money for quite a while. Why would you trade away one of your best defensive players? why would you trade away one of the best defensive backs in the league, especially when the morale on the team clearly would be affected by that, by guys that like playing with him and around him. So, Brisker's been, up and down, but he's also dealt with a lot of injuries. But yeah, man, that team really is just lacking a pass rush, and they've really come together the past few weeks. If you're really looking to make this team good in the future, why not, keep it together and just keep building it? Because he's not going to cost you so much that you can't afford him. Not when you have, maybe 2 top picks in the next season.
Trying to see. So I've got these are just rookie of the year. I wanted to go like defensive player of the year. I think if I did just rookie of the year, obviously it's CJ Stroud right now. It's Puka Nacua, Bijan, Jordan Addison. So it's like I think CJ Stroud's kind of got a stranglehold, especially as a quarterback, to get the award right now at this present point. So yeah, I really want to look defensive player of the year.
Oh, here I found offensive and defensive.
Oh, you did?
Scrolling. All right, Jalen Carter 1, Devin Witherspoon 2. So minus 140. I'll send it to you so you can share it on the screen. Jay says, let's see Jerry Jeudy go to KC. Yeah, I could see that as a good fit, honestly.
There we go. Oops. Steve, is it the same one as Jalen Carter 1, Devin Witherspoon 2, Will Anderson 3, Brian Branch 4, Tui Piloto number 5? A 49ers draft selection nonetheless. It sounds like a perfect it's probably Talanoa Tufunga's like cousin or something.
Actually, I hadn't seen that guy play till this week against Dallas. He looked pretty good, honestly.
Yeah.
But Witherspoon at plus 300, if I was putting money on any of these guys, that would be where I would go.
So in terms of card market, I'm guessing that Devin Witherspoon, I know he's in Mosaic and all that kind of stuff. I wonder how expensive his stuff has got. I feel like the defensive players, the skill position, are almost at the same values as the wide receivers and running backs. Like the defensive skill position players are pretty much valued the same as wide receivers and running backs, and they do spike up and down based off production, man. I mean, look at this, dude. I mean, yeah, it's like, let's compare him to Jordan Addison. I mean, Jordan Addison's going to be at the top end, but let's compare him to Zay Flowers. How about that? Like, that's a good comparison between Devin Witherspoon and Zay Flowers.
Yeah, I mean, the defensive back is a position of notoriety. Anything that makes big plays, sacks, interceptions, stuff like that, they get all the glory for maybe not doing as much work as like a middle linebacker, getting like all the Levante David 12 to 16 tackle type games. But Witherspoon, maybe he didn't go to a big pro college football school. He went to Illinois, my hometown or home state college. But that just goes to show you that you can find a diamond in the rough with a guy like him, and that would be my pick. Jalen Carter looks truly monstrous out there, but the thing with that is if he goes a couple games without a sack, that list starts shifting real quick.
Yeah, he's gonna have his fans though, man. Being on the Eagles, he's gonna have a lot of people on his stuff. I think he's in a whole nother gear, even ahead of these guys. It's pretty wild. I think you get a little bit of an Eagles X factor going on there.
He looks tough.
Yeah, I'm seeing pretty comparable prices between the Zay Flowers and the Devin Witherspoon. So that just goes to show you, man, there's a lot of focus on the rookie autos, and there's more rookie autos for Zay Flowers than there is Devin Witherspoon. So I'm actually seeing the rookie autos for Devin Witherspoon
Ooh, look at that gold.
go for quite a bit compared to his base cards going for like this one. This is a mosaic no huddle pink numbered out of 20 that sold for 100.
That's a lot,
That's a
man.
nice one.
I know that the hobby's not revolving around defensive players, but the data's right there, Andy. It's hard to argue with what you're seeing.
12 bids on an auction yesterday for a wild card unlicensed Devin Witherspoon 101 red foil rookie auto. I think it's all the rookie auto with the nice card. I say nice card. It looks kind of cool, man, with the cards in the background around it, but it's unlicensed. Like, so from a credibility standpoint, I mean, just wild card is paying Devin Witherspoon to sign the card, and that's really what you're paying for. That's going for quite a bit, man.
I think this reinforces something you and I both are firm believers in, and that's something that we talked about when we first started doing this together, is that the hobby is a growing hobby, and the more people you get into it, you know, the larger tastes you're going to have all mixed in together, and you're going to have people that want other guys other than just quarterbacks. You're going to have some defensive oriented minded people that want a Devin Witherspoon, and rightfully so.
Boom. All right. With that, let's get into the week 7 slate. Let's kind of go through these, Steve, and we'll give you guys our prediction of who's going to win, lose. I got a couple games that we're going to pick out and put in Underdog slips on. We're kicking it off this week, Steve, with the Jaguars going to New Orleans to play this aggressive Saints defense, kind of putting the Jags offense to the test here, man. The Saints defense has been pretty solid.
I think the biggest question mark is how healthy is Trevor Lawrence? And it seems like he'll probably play this week, but is he 100%? And even if that's the case, they did just play 2 games over in England, and now they're back home. So, and the Saints just look tough on defense. So they're playing it in New Orleans. They don't expect it to be a high-scoring game. I don't either. I will probably edge the Saints on this one here.
And the Jags defense is ranked top 10 against the pass, number 6 against the run. So the Jags defense is very mobile, fast, good defense as well. I think that this game is going under. I'm going to be betting the under on this game, Steve. And I'll probably be, largely avoiding any type of, big breakout game performances in this game. I guess if I had to pick,
throw for 400. Watch.
I kind of like just Travis Etienne. I mean, Travis Etienne has been dominating, as you pointed out earlier. So I kind of like the Travis Etienne here play in that game.
And I think Kamara too. And he's just had so much volume, and these low-scoring affairs are only going to provide that much more opportunity.
I'll tell you who else I like. It's Rashid Shaheed, man, for the Saints, because right now with Derek Carr's shoulder injury that he's nursing, if you notice that his ADOT, his average distance of target, is a lot shorter. So he really is throwing it to these shorter route running guys like Rashid Shaheed, who's kind of like a Curtis Samuel type of player, does a lot of his work after the catch. He's fast, man. He can break away in open field, and he's way more consistent than other gadget guys like that are in that position, like Kadarius Toney. So I like Rashid Shaheed in this offense. He's kind of an interesting guy in the card market as well, Steve. But, I'm going to go with the Saints at home on this one, man. I'm going to go with the Saints at home.
Rock on. Rare moment we both picked the same team, but I like it.
Now this is a big boy matchup because
This
you
is
already
one of
had
the
us
ones I
on.
want to see the most out of this entire week here.
And the Vegas is saying that the half the time this game goes under 42.5 and the other half over. So this is interesting. We got a -3 spread in favor of the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. Potentially some weather at all. I mean, we had a little bit of weather this past week in Cleveland.
Let's have a look here. Let's take a look at.
But I mean, if I'm weather, weather to the side, if I'm looking at these guys on paper and the way these defenses have been playing, Steve, I almost want to go under on this one too, but I feel like they're gonna open it up, man. This one of these teams could score. This game has a sneaky chance of shooting out here just because of the how good the offenses are. I mean, the Lions passing offense, like we've been talking about, they're 4th in the NFL right now. The Ravens passing offense is 14th, but then the Ravens passing defense is 3rd, and they're 1st in yards allowed per pass. So that's going to put a big challenge. But the Lions obviously can, I think, overcome pretty much any defense at this point. If they're giving Jared Goff time in the pocket, you got excellent route runners in Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. I think I don't know what David Montgomery's status is, Steve, but obviously Jahmyr Gibbs is a big one to watch, and hopefully he gets back in there. But even Josh Reynolds has been good. Jameson Williams is apparently maybe going to be good. We don't know. Like, is Jameson Williams going to be good? All the Lions fans I talked to are like, oh, that guy is he's soft. He's soft, man. They think he's got the knucklehead factor big time. So they're not sold on him because they don't think he can always catch the ball. The guys were talking about how he alligator armed a couple passes earlier I'm definitely out on Jameson Williams. I think he's got a lot of knucklehead in him. So I'm not sure if he's the play there. Plus, I like them picking apart defenses with Amon-Ra St. Brown and this run game. But I am definitely concerned about David Montgomery. Lions are a prime candidate team to bring in a guy like Leonard Fournette. I mean, think about it. I know he was just talking to the Patriots, or no, he was talking to the Bills, but he needs to be talking to the Lions. Like, dude, that would be sick. If Leonard Fournette signs with the Lions, I bet you his cards do go up. They spike.
I have this weird feeling, and David Montgomery played here for a really long time, and I don't think that he's going to miss a couple weeks. This is a guy that just plays no matter what, man. If he has a legit injury that he can't play through, he can miss a game here and there. But, a rib injury is typically a pain tolerance based injury. And I think that the coach said a lot of ominous things about, he's going to miss some time. But he didn't say anything specific. Sometime could be 2 practices, right? So I guess we'll kind of see. They haven't ruled him out of anything yet, and they haven't made any free agent acquisitions. They haven't called anyone up from the practice squad. So, I mean, buckle up, man. It might go down to game time, but he could actually play this week.
Yeah, you're right. It says Dan Campbell just said he'll be out for a little bit, and there's been no timetable. There's been no clarity on it. That was. I'm looking for his latest news. I mean, we that's the latest news. His X-rays were negative, so I gotta side with you here, Steve. I don't think he misses much time at all. And then Gibbs is got to be coming back soon as well, I'd imagine. He was limited. It's another one of those hamstring situations. But Gibbs has already missed how many games he missed last week? Did he play in week 5? No, he didn't play in week 5 either. So he missed 5, 6. Yeah, okay. So he missed weeks 5 and 6. So he's probably out again this week. with maybe a split between David Montgomery and Craig Reynolds. So maybe they don't bring in a Lenny. That would be an interesting guy for them to sign, though, to add as depth. But you're right. David Montgomery is a tank.
Derek said send J-Mo deep. And actually, the interesting thing about sending him deep is he's not a volume guy, but he will hurt you deep. And while he's hurting you deep, he's helping someone across the middle, namely their tight end, namely Amon-Ra St. Brown, namely opening up the run game. So having him back is not just benefiting him, but it's actually helping the entire team.
Yeah. So let's talk about this let's talk about this Ravens offense here.
63 and breezy, Andy, for the weather.
Yeah, I gotta think this game might go under, but it's a sneaky one to shoot out, man. It is a sneaky one to shoot out. Who do you got in this game?
I mean, I'd be doing a disservice to my guy Jared Goff by saying the Ravens. Although I'm not a homer, if I genuinely thought they were going to lose, I'd say so. But I'll take the Lions. I'm not saying decisive blowout, but I do think the Lions will win, which is contrary to what Vegas thinks. And I think it'll be decently close, like a 6 point, maybe something like that.
Well, they lost to the Colts at home in week 3 by 3 points. So it's possible, man. And that was a Gardner Minshew led Colts team there at the end. So man, it's definitely a possibility that that the Lions get this one done here, Steve. I'm gonna root for their momentum because I like to see them continue this momentum, and a win over the Ravens would be a huge statement, man. Huge statement.
We saw the numbers last week on the Lamar fumbles, which seemed to be just about one a week. So if you have a Aiden Hutchinson, prop of some kind, that could be one that could be fortuitous, I think.
All right, we're moving on. We touched on this one earlier, but Raiders at Chicago playing the Bears, 37.5 over under. Surprising that line hasn't moved, but I guess they opened it. It would be a lot higher if Fields and Jimmy Garoppolo were both playing.
Oh man,
but you got to go with your home team, right?
This could be a one of those old school ugly football games where both guys throw for under 200 yards and, it's a run heavy game script. That being said, I'll go with like a 12-16 Bears win.
12-16 Bears win. All right. Well, you can see they got a lot of L, so they could definitely use that. We'll be rooting for Tyson Bagent, and we'll see. Let's see what the kid can do at home here, man. I think the Bears win this one at home too, especially if you don't have any Jimmy Garoppolo. Aiden O'Connell, I guess, would get another start. I think it's pretty wild that they would start Brian Hoyer over Aiden O'Connell. But hey, Josh McDaniels is I think he's a pretty bad coach.
What the justification is they're 3-3, right? If they were 1-5, I think that might be different, but they're genuinely in the mix.
I'll tell you what, I'm not putting any slips on any of those guys. That's for sure. I don't know if I found a game yet that I kind of actually I will be putting maybe go revisit this Lions Ravens one to put a slip on. But what are you thinking about here? The Browns, I don't think we're still not going to get Deshaun Watson back. So we're going to be getting more Kareem Hunt, get Jerome Ford back this week, which is interesting. I think he'll get back into at least a 50% workload. Going up against the Colts here, led by Gardner Minshew. What do you got in this game? It's in Indianapolis.
Seeing as the Browns just won last week, they've extinguished their good fortune for the year, and I have the Colts here.
I got to root for the Colts, man, all day here. I'm rooting for Gardner Minshew. Got off to a slow start last week, so I'm looking for him to bounce back here at home.
Browns have a really good pass rush, no doubt, but
yeah,
I think that the Colts will get that run game going, and that's going to be the difference maker.
Yeah, man, get Jonathan Taylor going, man.
Derek said I have lion pajamas, the ones with feet. I don't, but if you find some, I need to know about it.
All right, Bills at Patriots, man. If anybody, well, see, the thing, we knew that the Patriots were going to be bad. I was really hoping the Patriots were going to sign DeAndre Hopkins so I could sell my Mac Jones cards, and then it didn't happen. And then I should have taken like a break-even offer, and I didn't. Excuse me, I didn't, and so now I'm stuck with it. And the Patriots, it looks like are about to get steamrolled by the Bills. 8.5-point favorites going into New England this weekend.
You know what? Here's the thing, though. They did barely beat the Giants, Andy. Now, we've seen them stomp other really good teams, but let's be fair, that wasn't that impressive. And not every game is going to be an onslaught. So if you could say any good things about the Patriots is that a couple things looked better this past week, and they get Juju back potentially this week. Defensively, they're still going to be lacking with their key positions being the defensive back and defensive end positions injured. But not saying the Patriots to win, but I think it'll be closer than the spread. 6 points, maybe.
Yeah, I think it could be. I think this is a great spot for the Patriots just to focus on the run game. You got an expendable asset in Zeke Elliott. He's an interesting guy this week at home. And Ramondre Stevenson, get him going, man. And then just work on that and play good defense. I know, they're without Matthew Judon. So I know that they're like suffering on defense. They also lost Christian Gonzalez for his rookie year. So that was their other like first round draft pick this past year. So they're hurting pretty bad. Their run defense is still pretty good. I mean, the Bills don't really run the ball. I think they can make a competitive matchup out of it out at home here. And I also, Steve, I think Kendrick Bourne is a sneaky trade candidate guy. Kendrick Bourne would be an interesting guy that doesn't have a whole lot of rookie cards, but he's been really...
Juju looked pretty good last year. In fact, he was a bit underrated even, but injuries have kind of derailed that part of Patriots season this year. Maybe that's really all it takes. They get two little offensive weapons back in the pass game, and, maybe they become competent, at least competent. Yeah,
but we all know that Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis are definitely going to get it done. That trio there for the Bills passing offense, which is the third right now in the NFL and 8th in yards per pass. They're throwing it deep. So watch out. I'm going to be definitely looking for that chili pepper Gabe Davis touchdown. I'm going to be looking to hit overs on Josh Allen and the passing weapons because the Patriots pass defense, like you mentioned, no Christian Gonzalez, banged up. They're 23rd right now, Steve, in the NFL. So that's juicy for that Bills passing attack. I'm still going Bills here at home, but I'm with you. I think they cover that spread. I think the Patriots cover that 8.5-point spread.
Absolutely. Shout out Kevin in the chat. What's up, my guy? Good to see you tuning in.
Kevin, welcome to the quest, my friend.
Commanders.
Appreciate that. What are we feeling here for the Commanders at the Giants? 39. Are we getting some Daniel Jones this week? I gotta pull that injury up. That was the
Commanders' front four is pretty tough, but where they can be really exposed is getting the top taken off, and that secondary is real bad. real bad. So this could be a Daniel Jones breakout type game. Jalen Hyatt usage going way up this week, Andy. Those are all the recipes for a bounce back for the Giants. And not to mention not losing by a lot against a team like the Bills on Monday night.
And you also got Saquon Barkley back. Got a bunch of carries last week.
When we talked about it, that one component, in my opinion, is the entire justification for how well Daniel Jones will play. And we saw that with Darnold and McCaffrey the previous season. And some guys just need kind of everything in play to be successful, and that might be true of him.
Yeah, he's not doing too terrible. I think you're right, man. This is due for a bounce back here against a pretty weak Commanders defense ranked 27th. And the run defense is ranked 14th overall. So, this is definitely an exploitable matchup here. I also like the way that the Commanders have been moving the ball, keeping things competitive with their run offense. Brian Robinson has been good. Curtis Samuel has been good. So glad I sold my Jahan Dotsons when I did at the beginning of the year. This is pretty concentrated between Howell and Terry McLaurin and Logan Thomas. Now Curtis Samuel, and throwing to the running backs, whether it's Antonio Gibson or Brian Robinson. They are using Antonio Gibson still, Steve. He's not dead, right? And so he's an interesting guy. It's just like when I look at how many good skill position players they have on their roster, I feel like they've got to trade one of these guys. And a guy like Antonio Gibson, who this is the final year of his rookie contract, I mean, they got to trade him, right? I don't think they re-sign him. They don't like him.
Yeah, could you imagine, though, like a team that is just lacking a playmaker? The Chiefs, for example. Not that we need them to be any better than they are, but that would just be an absolute lethal weapon on that team.
Lethal, man. And Pacheco's lethal, but Gibson would be Jerick McKinnon plus time. Jerick McKinnon times
Pacheco
10.
Not do, Andy? Catch passes.
Yeah, no, he's not really there yet. Not really there yet. All right, so we're feeling the Giants to bounce back at home. I'm with you. I think the Giants are 100% due. I also think this game goes over. I think there's no way this game goes under unless, even if Tyrod Taylor starts, I still think this game will figure out a way to go over. 39-point total. Yeah, I'm going to be putting some over slips on that game too, for sure.
And Howell is definitely doing it, maybe not all the way from a real life perspective, but from a fantasy perspective, absolutely.
But this one, Steve, the Falcons at the Buccaneers at 1:00. So we get another home game, second week in a row, and this one at 1:00, and we're hosting the Falcons. This one, I don't know if it's going to go over, man. I don't know that this one's going over 37. I would like to bet on the Bucs side of this because the Falcons passing defense has been not anywhere near as good as what we thought they were going to be coming in. They're actually ranked 29th right now and 15th in yards allowed per pass. And the run defense has been pretty good. The Bucs run offense absolutely sucks. Rashad White is bottom of the league in broken tackles or yards created after initial contact. He's having another crappy season where he cannot break tackles. He's not explosive, Steve. I hate to say it, man, but he's not explosive. And I think this game could potentially go under because our run defense, Tampa's run defense is good. The passing defense is solid. I think this game's going to go under, dude. This might be the lowest scoring game of the week, man.
I'll take the contrarian play and go with the over simply because these teams know each other pretty well. Falcons offense, believe it or not, I never thought I'd say this, is actually ascending. if you look at the
This is true.
actual,
Drake London is a real thing now. Drake London is ascending, man. And that's because Ritter's
I know
been
you
throwing
watch
the
Red
ball.
Zone, Andy, so I know you've probably seen Algier get stopped at the 1, like maybe 3 weeks in a row now. So it's coming, man. It's coming. They like him in short yardage situations. Sadly, they're not fooling anyone with their play calling. So when Algier's in the game, you got 8 in the box, and then they're running an entirely different scheme when Bijan's in. So they're going to have to confuse the defense a little bit to be a little more, less transparent in what they're calling. But I could see some big plays here. I could see, Mike Evans kind of getting back to Mike Evans things with a long touchdown. So I'm not saying it's a high-scoring game by any means, but it won't take a whole lot to beat that over.
It's low. It's low. It's 37 is low.
How about a rare Keyshawn Vaughn appearance, man? How about that?
He's been getting more and more work, man, and that's because Rachaad White stinks. So this is like, and I'm always still blown away with how expensive Rachaad White rookie cards are when I look on eBay. So if you got those, I would highly recommend sell them for the current comps now, because I think they're going to continue to go down. And he may be a guy looking up that is third on the depth chart next year. And then the next year he's on a practice squad, all of a sudden he's phased out. And then you see him in the XFL, so watch out. Like if he's getting outplayed by Keyshawn Vaughn, who's not good at all, who's been outplayed by all kinds of guys. And then you look at if Chase Edmonds comes back, Steve, Chase Edmonds is coming back in a couple weeks. And he might have been bad in Miami last year for whatever reason, but he was really good in Denver, and he was good on the Cardinals. Before that, he was an explosive satellite plus type running back. If Chase Edmonds can supplant White and Vaughn and Sean Tucker, then watch out, man. That means these other guys aren't good, unfortunately. As I think that's what that means. So just keep your eye out for that.
The thing is they need like a genuine hammer to mix in with one of those guys, and that's not what either of those guys really are. So they do need a Lenny or a big bodied guy that can mix it up, soften the linebackers up a bit, and then bring the speed guys in or the pass catchers in and have them do their things. But they'll figure it out. Buccaneers pass protection is pretty good, but that run blocking, not so much, Andy.
Yeah, and Sean Tucker hasn't had a fair shake, so we'll give him that. All right, but I'm gonna ultimately go with the Bucs win here, but it's gonna be a slog fest, grinded out 12-16. Steve though is going with the contrarian play and thinks that's a sneaky one for you to go over on, and he's got some good points. I do like your points about how much Ritter's been throwing the ball, and they have been getting more aggressive. So that could force Baker into a situation where if he connects on a couple more of the passes that he should have connected on last week, then yeah, he's all of a sudden he's putting up 20 to 30 points as well. So I could see it, man. I could see it. And Mike Evans did have a big drop. That was painful to watch. And his day could have been bigger too, because that would have been for a first down. That would have been another sustained drive, more plays. It's just one type of mistake like that could lead to a fizzled out drive and then essentially kind of derail the whole game, kind of thing. So, yeah, I got to go with my home team here, but I think that's an interesting one, Steve. You kind of got me leaning more towards the over now.
I love it, man. I love the game theory.
What about the Steelers at the Rams? And we talked about this one at the beginning of the stream because of Zach Evans at running back, but we got a 44-point over under here. Interesting. It hasn't moved. And we know Steelers run defense isn't all that it's cracked up to be. What are you feeling in this game?
I think the Rams kind of come out with the Buffalo Bills play calling this week, and they just chuck the ball. Not a lot of running, I'm thinking. The one thing of note with the Steelers, though, is you get Pat Fryermuth back, and you get Deontay Johnson back, arguably the best receiver on that team. So that's pretty big, considering that we really haven't seen him play this whole year because he got hurt in week 1, I believe. So a lot of unknowns in this one, so it does make it a lot harder to call. But I do like to always typically lean towards the ascending. So I do like the Rams here, but I think it's actually going to make for a pretty interesting game to watch.
That's an interesting one, Steve. They could push this game then. A 4
It could
o'clock
be close
game.
enough the Steelers could cover.
Yeah, man. That is definitely spicy. I like that, man. I like that. I might have to get on board with some of this. And man, the Steelers passing defense at being 30th in yards allowed per pass, letting a lot of short and intermediate yardage type passes. Stafford will really cut you up, man, with those fastballs. So this one's super interesting, man, here to bet this Rams side at home, and maybe Pickett can push it. Kenny Two Gloves can push it.
Full practice for Deontay Johnson.
Nice. Offense is about to get a big upgrade. Let's see if Pickett can capitalize, getting his weapons back, getting all the weapons back. All right, man. Cardinals, Seahawks.
Oof. Can't say I'm too excited about this one, but it's the kind of game that you could pretty much win just on the back of the running game if you're Seattle. So I do like Seattle to win. That spread is a bit scary given how close the Cardinals have played with teams outside of their tier. You could make that argument. And you did see a bit of regression, especially without them having any viability in the run game. So I want nothing to do with that team.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. It's so inconsistent. I'm definitely going Seahawks here, and I am going whatever I can get my hands on Kenneth Walker, like lines on him. I know his rookie cards have gotten quite expensive, but the Seahawks defense is pretty good, and this Cardinals offense is still going to be pretty bad, man. I don't know if they keep it competitive this week. If you think that was a bad week from Dobbies and the boys, I like this. I like the Seahawks run offense to get to work this week, and a bounce back week for the passing offense as well. Got to go Seahawks here, man.
Agreed. Kenneth Walker, was eating him up in best ball when people were fearing that, him coming back from that injury, but clearly not a factor. And he does look like good for a touchdown at least every week.
Yeah, good for a touchdown. Bingo. Anytime. Kenneth Walker, anytime touchdown. Spicy pepper bet. Bingo. Ooh, Packers. Packers coming off this bye week. You think these Packers are going to get it back together? I mean, this is the spot, dude. Denver's defense has been absolutely terrible, man. Terrible. They're Denver's passing defense 32nd, the worst in the league, and their run defense 31st. This is. I mean, if there's any type of like layup bounce back, you're playing a Division III school, coming off your bye week. This is it, right, for the Packers.
They got to win this week, and I don't necessarily have the greatest amount of faith in Jordan Love. I think he can do just enough to win you the game, but the team, I think, will ride the back of a healthy Aaron Jones, which he did practice this week. Sadly, he's been hurt by a hamstring injury for most of the season so far. So that's that. But you saw when he's healthy, I mean, the man is a massive playmaker still. even in the what they'd call running back twilight years, and that's going to be the key to this game.
The one thing we've noticed is the Packers offense and Jordan Love, when he's throwing it at a pretty high ADOT. He's 5th in yards per attempt. So I look at him as if he is going to go off. I'm looking at guys like Christian Watson, man, who you and I did. I may or may not have written him up last week and did a deep dive on him because he is such a juicy play right now. And if you saw some of the auctions and items that I wrote up last week in our premium membership last Friday, I mean, you be licking your chops too, because him compared to the rest of that draft class in the sports card values, he's a lot lower than Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. I would be even probably able to find some Christian Watson stuff lower than Drake London at this point. And man, if there was ever a time to have those in your possession, like this matchup against the Broncos this weekend is so sweet, because I think the Broncos are going to throw it. Like, the Broncos are going to throw it. They're going to try and play and win here. And it's not like, I mean, the Packers defense is okay. They're about middle of the pack, but their run defense has not been good. And this kind of sets up for a game to go over here, Steve. Like, I think this is one of those games that you can attack, man.
Christian Watson in the last 6 games of last year had touchdowns in each game. In all the games he's been healthy this year, I think 1 of the 2 so far. So that's a pretty good touchdown rate per game. Whether it's sustainable or not really the point, but clearly he is a favorite to be the target for a passing touchdown.
Shane with a little astronaut suit coming in about talking about putting Mustard in the captain for watching Madden on DraftKings, and homeboy always putting Mostert in captain. Good old days.
Oh, before we get too far past that Cardinals game, especially with Kyler coming back, Marquise Brown is probably 14th, 16th, somewhere in that range for receivers now. So his upside from there with a legitimate quarterback, or a more legitimate quarterback, is only that much better, especially one that he's friends with, like Kyler Murray. So if you can get him at a value, also a guy you could be looking at.
All right, and so this is why we haven't put any underdog slips in yet, or done any betting on Underdog Fantasy yet, is because the schedule makers this week have saved the best for last, folks. The 425 slot here, Chargers at the Chiefs, and then the Dolphins at the Eagles on Sunday Night Football. Whoo, buddy. I mean, yay, wowzers.
Chiefs, man, it's so hard to bet against them, but you got to feel pretty good about the way the Chargers looked recently.
You do. I mean, obviously, the Chargers offense has the capability to keep up in this game. 100%, man, 100%. I think this 48 points is probably right on par with it being another Kansas City game. I got to expect them. They're going to the Chiefs are going to utilize their passing game, take advantage of a weak Chargers passing defense. They're also going to take advantage of a weak Chargers run defense. I would be inclined to say that Isaiah Pacheco could have another big game, and his cards are expensive. So I'm going to stick to betting. Like, compared to the draft class, his cards are like the Brock Purdy of running back cards, right, Steve?
Yeah.
And so I'm going to stick to betting his over in this game against the Chargers, and the Chiefs win at home.
All right. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's really hard to bet against the Chiefs, but they're giving you almost 2-1 odds on the Chargers. So if you wanted to place a couple bucks on them, I wouldn't feel that bad about it. It's only 5.5 points, but if you're feeling a little reserved, points aren't bad, given how well the Chargers have played lately and how so the Chiefs have played. Don't let the record fool you. They haven't really hurt anyone that bad. So.
All right. What about Dolphins at the Eagles?
Man, that's a hard one. And man, I could go so many different directions with this one. And I know that the Dolphins just play just a bit better at home than they do on the road. So I think the common take is going to be Eagles here, but I'm going to go with the Dolphins just because we've seen a little mini fizzle out by Hurts at the end of the game there, and hey, somebody's got to win this game here. So I'm gonna go Tua. I'm gonna go Dolphins on this one.
And that Eagles passing defense is exploitable, man. There's that secondary is exploitable. I am concerned for the Eagles in this game. If there's any team that they played thus far year to date that can beat them, I feel like the Jets. That was I mean, Eagles should have won that game. Eagles should have won that game. They had a couple mistakes. They should have won that game. But if there's any team that could beat them like out of the gate, it might be the Dolphins. This is a tough matchup. This is I'm so excited to watch this matchup. I'm more excited to watch this game than I am to watch the Falcons come to Tampa.
Honestly, I don't know if there's been a whole lot of Sunday night games this year that I was really that gung-ho about, but this is definitely one that I will have on and I'll be paying full attention.
Yeah, the game changer is if some Eagles pass rusher, maybe named Jalen Carter or something like that, puts Tua on his back. So he's gonna get it out quick, and they're gonna have to protect him, get it out quick. Get some run game going, which is gonna be tough because the Eagles got one of the best, if not the best, run defenses in the league. And that's real. Like you said, this game can go a lot of different ways. I'm gonna go Eagles here at home. Eagles here at home.
No one's gonna be mad at you for picking the Eagles, man.
No, yeah. Now, what is Filthy saying?
Capitalizing on the fact that his Phillies are in the National League Championship right now and could potentially make it to the World Series over the weekend. So another interesting play there. So we'll see, man.
That's right. They're wearing the Kelly green. Well, this is not good because the Bucks were wearing the old orange creamsicle jerseys last week, and we got waxed by the Lions. So I don't know if there's a throwback jersey correlation. I don't know if there's a throwback jersey correlation going there, Filthy, but just by you reminding me that they're going with the Kelly green, I might have to change to the Dolphins. But we'll stick with the Eagles. We're gonna stick with the Eagles. They almost feel like a home team now at this point after watching the not the Travis Kelce, just the Kelce documentary in general. I guess it was more focused on Jason Kelce. That was cool. That was cool, man. Have you seen that, Steve?
No, but I heard you talking about it, so I may have to check it out.
Yeah, it's a good documentary. But all right. So we got some mixed opinions on the. Filthy says they can't lose with the Kelly green.
Okay, well.
Hard. Get out of here, man.
Speaking in absolutes in football is a dangerous thing, my friend.
Hard Jim Ball coming in here at 11:18 at over the 2-hour mark. I'm sure he hit the like button before he came in here. But right. He said he spent 3 paychecks on Justin Fields cards about 6 weeks ago, and he is down. What do you say to the Justin Fields buyer from 6 weeks ago that's feeling a little down right now?
There's probably a few others, but there's no bigger city that is quick to forget about what you've done for them than this one. The fans here will ride you into the ground if you're not tough enough, and Fields keeps coming out and doing his thing. Even after a little bit of a roller coaster to start the season. So Yeah, I like it, man. I was buying in at the beginning of the year when they were, stinking the place up, and I was getting some cards at like 30% of recent comps. So it's viable, 100%. You just got to hope that he comes back sooner than later, and they can keep making these games exciting. Even if they're not going to win, they got to be exciting wins or
Yeah,
exciting
and
games.
and what are you doing over there, Har? You should have sold the cards week 5, Thursday night football, when a lot of other people did that were buying them before the season. You could have easily broken even there, or you can just hold on, man. Hold on, it'll be a bumpy ride, but you'll get back there, and he'll have some more spike games, and you'll sell him, or maybe they trade him, but I doubt it. But you'll definitely be able to sell him. One final matchup, Steve. 49ers at the Vikings. Vikings without Justin Jefferson. 49ers coming off of that loss to the Browns, where Purdy almost redeemed himself. I was reminded that Purdy did almost redeem himself on the final drive of the game, and the kicker just barely missed the kick. But my point is, he made a lot of mistakes earlier in that game that didn't have to get it to that point to where they were trying to come back and win at the very last second. So it was impressive to hang in there. We know the Browns got a good defense. Myles Garrett had a couple highlight reel plays, of course. But man, I feel like, Niners should just kind of bounce back. But we have some injuries. Christian McCaffrey potentially out with an oblique injury, Steve.
Yeah. You've got their best O lineman with a high ankle. You got McCaffrey with the oblique, and you've got Debo with, I can't remember what his injury was. Just a lot of injuries and a lot of key spots on that offense. And you kind of saw the wheels wobbling a little bit there, and they did look a little bit exposed. So I will say this. If McCaffrey does play, I think that the Niners have an easy win here. If he does not play, I am taking the Vikings, actually.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I'm interested to see what Elijah Mitchell is gonna do, man, because if McCaffrey's out, maybe Elijah Mitchell can step in and get to work, man. So yeah, I don't know. I got to go with the 49ers here either way. I think they get a nice bounce back match. The Vikings defense has actually not been playing as bad as what they were originally. Like, there's a lot worse defense. Like, look at their run defense. They're 14th right now. They're 5th in yards allowed per carry, so that's good. They're not allowing big runs. They're playing solid there. Their passing defense is 21st overall, but they're 5th in yards allowed per pass, so they're keeping things in front of them. So, obviously Purdy is really good about just short passes, get it out quick to Debo or Ayuk or Kittle, set his guys up for yards after the catch, and you got this super dynamic run game. So no Christian McCaffrey. I think they slot in Elijah Mitchell, unless I'm missing something, Steve. I think Elijah Mitchell is good to go in this game, and we've seen him step into that McCaffrey role and ball out before.
Yeah, he was his rookie year. He was, I want to say, he was 1,000-yard rusher.
He just doesn't stay healthy,
right? And he did have an injury designation coming into this past week, so I think that's actually why he was outsnapped. But I think when healthy, he most likely has like the lion's share, maybe 70-30, 60-40, something like that. End of the day, those guys are both very capable. They're not McCaffrey, clearly, but they're both pretty good. My thing is, Cousins is good. He is 3rd in the league in passing. So if they can't get anything going on offense, I don't know that the Niners can play enough defense to keep the points off the board.
Yeah, it looks like they're almost thinking McCaffrey may play, but it may be a plus game script situation where they don't have to play much McCaffrey. But I gotta think that this Vikings team is they're kind of bouncing back to the mean here. I mean this is a 500 team. I never envisioned them 2-4. I did envision them though 3-3. I think 2-4 is kind of surprising, but if you were to say 3-3, all right, that sounds right about right. I mean, I put them right in the middle of the pack, so they're going to be a competitive team, even without Justin Jefferson. I'm looking to Jordan Addison and T Hawk and Alexander Madison, KJ Osborne to carry that load, and I think they still figure out a way to put up points. It's just like, can they give Cousins any time at all? Like, I mean, man. Maybe without Justin Jefferson, they just start to go into a lot shorter plays, man. I mean, that's what they're going to have to do because he don't get any time back there. And his 49ers pass rush is nasty.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, I don't know, the Niners defense didn't really show up the way that they had in previous weeks. And I guess the offense didn't either. So I don't know if that's just a coincidence, or if maybe that's an indicator that they are in fact beatable. There's no doubt that they're very good and probably one of the best, if not the best team in football. But there's definitely cracks in the foundation here, and they showed that they can be beat.
So you're going with the Vikings?
I'm taking the Niners if McCaffrey plays.
Okay.
Otherwise, I am taking the Vikings if McCaffrey does not.
Okay. All right. Well, we were close, Steve, on last week's pick'ems. We didn't hit any slips, though, unfortunately, man. The results, we didn't quite get there, man. You know what I noticed? We get a lot of 3 right and 2 wrong. So here we got 2. We pushed 1, then we got 2 wrong. Didn't get the fumble, Zach Wilson fumble. Just that, what a shame, what a shame. We didn't. The problem is we never got the Jalen Carter sack. So we didn't get the Jalen Carter sack. We didn't get the Zach Wilson fumble.
1.5 yards on the Conklin. That's wild.
Yeah, we were really close to the Conklin. But we got the Goddard, got the Garrett Wilson, smashed his line.
I mean, end of the day, all those pepper picks are going to be real.
I put this one in a totally biased. This is a totally biased slip I put in right before the Bucs game started. About 3-4 beers in by this point. And I did go over on Dave Montgomery. Got that for the receiving yards. Chris Godwin, I got that on the receptions. But I was going for a pick on Jared Goff, didn't get it. And I didn't get the Mike Evans touchdown. And Baker got close, man. He would have got there if he connected on just one of those Trey Palmer passes, or even like one Mike Evans pass plus another pass. I mean, he would have gotten on the over. So it was close.
Montgomery got hurt like in the first quarter, so it's pretty remarkable that you got that one right.
Yeah, right. I mean, it was so low. I had to. We didn't get the Devontae Adams touchdown, and we didn't get the Bryce Young fumble, but we nailed the Josh Jacobs over. We nailed the Adam Thielen over. 2 out of 4. Got the Cooper Kupp. We knew that was under 100. You go over on Cooper Kupp. That's just do it every week, and you'll win way more than you lose. But we go for a lot of these super fragile ones. See, Steve, this is what I'm noticing. Like, there's more things that can easily go wrong so you don't get a touchdown, but the yardages are a lot easier to hit.
Right, definitely. But for every couple few entries that you do that are a bit safer, you do a couple maybe slightly lower dollar ones that have that grand slam potential.
So, and the lines do change throughout the week. So if I were to put in an early Bucks line this week, let's go NFL. No,
Tampa, maybe.
maybe I have to put Buccaneers.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Buccaneers. All right. So real quick, guys, we are like betting on underdogfantasy.com. So it's not open in every state, but I think they're now in like, I don't know, like 30 something out of 50 states. Some states don't allow the platform, but if you are new and you want to try it out, you go ahead and try it out. You just have to have your location turned on so they can verify where you're at. Promo code QUEST will get you an instant 100% instant deposit bonus up to $500. Steve, is pretty wild. The offer you can take advantage of as a new user, and you string 5 of these picks together, you 20x. But as you can see, I think our sweet spot is around 3 picks, and if you do the standard 3 pick, like we go over on Baker, we don't mess with Rashad White, we go over on Chris Godwin, over on Mike Evans, we're already at 6x, and then we bring it back with a guy from the Falcons, and you could easily put together a 20x slip. Although I think the three 6x slips are probably the sweet spot.
Yeah, definitely, and mix it up. You can do it however you are comfortable doing it. I like to do, spread it over a couple different teams. Andy likes to do it like game matchups, which you can do it that way too. There's just a lot more fragility, I think, because a defensive touchdown can really re-rack the entire yardage situation for one player or one entire offense. So, but mix it up a little bit. You can take, hey, I like these 3 games. Take like 1-2 picks from each game and try to get it, man. I mean, just 2 weeks ago, we hit 5 of 5 on two in a row, and then 4 of 5. And those are some big hitters. So they're not high odds, but they have massive payouts for a reason.
All right, I just went with a over on Baker Mayfield, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans passing yards. They're all pretty low. And then I did an over on Drake London right at like 49 passing yards or receiving yards. So that was low too. And now I want to do a Rams over, Steve. I'm making notes as we went through the slate. I like this Rams over against Pittsburgh here. So,
all right. Yeah, that passing yards is pretty low.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, and I think anytime you see Cooper Kupp under 100, man, I'm telling you, just keep hitting this. As long as Cooper Kupp's healthy and you have this line under 100, that's an easy over. So we're gonna go over and then bring it back with some Steelers players here, man.
Dante's on the sheet. Look at that.
Oh, he's got one of those fragile.
Do you know why that's an interesting one? Because if you remember, he had 0 receiving touchdowns last year, despite having being 4th in the league in targets. That is an anomaly that is bound to be broken.
Yeah, you're right, man. I'm not going to bet it in this slip.
And that's fine. It's bound to happen, though. It may not be this game, but
yeah,
it's coming soon.
Watch it happen this week. It'll probably happen this week, man. But I'm going to go over on Stafford at 269, Kupp at 98.5 receiving, and then Pickett at 222 passing.
I dig it.
And then this one might be kind of interesting if we did a Kenneth Walker and we just do a singular over on him, and then we don't mess with anything else on Arizona or Seattle. Would you just go 76.5 rushing yards here?
What about just the Tud?
You want to go with the Tud?
Just the Tud.
If there's anybody that's going to get the Tud, it's him. I mean, look at all these touchdowns, man. It's touchdowns like crazy.
He's got at least 1 touchdown in every game except the first one of the season. It's pretty good.
It's touchdowns like crazy, man. Touchdowns all over the place.
But he's gone under 75 yards 3 of the 5 games he's played. So
Okay. All right. So we got K Walker on the tutty, and then we got
Christian Watson.
48.5. There it is.
I mean, he had like an 80-yard catch the other day. I mean, that guy he's going to slowly work his way back into the offense, but it's a pretty low number for him.
Yeah, there it is. Like just those two together, I feel really good about. Just those two together, and then you could come in here and put one more Pacheco versus the Chargers, or we know they're playing at home. I mean, likely Taylor Swift, they're hanging out with Mama Kelce. So I gotta think that Travis is gonna be finding the end zone. There's gonna be if he's got a wheel out there, he'll find the end zone.
Let's see. I know let's see how many games he scored a touchdown, and I think for the most part, except for the one he got hurt in, just about
every game that Taylor Swift has shown up to.
Yeah, so not against the Jets and not against Denver. So 3 out of 5.
I kind of just like the Pacheco rushing yards. I mean, I think these Pacheco rushing yards. If there's a total yards too, because you see he actually had 6 for 36 through the air last week, Steve. So, I mean, in a positive game script situation like this, I feel like he could definitely. I mean, this total 82.5. Maybe that's the one you go with just to get it from whatever way. If they're going to throw him the ball, that's great. I mean, this usage last week was fantastic.
Yeah, that's hard to argue.
That'd be my line right there. That'd be my line. But I would make another slip for with the Kelce touchdown, because that's probably very plus EV, especially if they're in Kansas City, where Mama Kelce's going to be there, and I'm guessing Taylor Swift's going to be there too. So we definitely going to be going over on the Travis Kelce touchdown. And then we just, what we do is we pair up this Travis Kelce touchdown. What are we going to pair this Travis Kelce touchdown? You know what we pair it up with? We're going over on this. Then you pair it up with tomorrow night's game, because these Thursday night games, they always go under. We already talked about the matchup is the matchup is very favorable tomorrow night to go under. Both of these defense, Jags and Saints, good defense. So I think we can probably go under on one of these, like Derek Carr, man. He doesn't even run the ball. So let's just go 240, right? Let's go lower on that total. 240.
What's he up to?
Yeah, man, dude, all day. We're going under on the Derek Carr 240.
Jacksonville is one of the worst secondaries.
No.
And he did just throw for 350 last week.
It's Thursday night football, though. And he may have thrown
came back from 2 weeks.
He may have thrown for 350 at Houston, but he threw for 183 at New England and 127 against Tampa. And I know that was the game that he hurt his shoulder.
Was also hurt those 2 games.
Yeah. But I don't, especially with his shoulder the way it is, he can't throw the ball deep, and that's where Jacksonville can be beat. So if he can't throw it deep to beat him, he's going to throw it short. That's where Jacksonville's really good. So I think that Jacksonville's actually got a good match. That's why I think this matchup is actually going to go under. I think a lot of people may bet the over, but I'm actually going under on this one.
All right. What's the ETN receptions? That one seems kind of juicy.
Quantity of receptions or receiving
quantity.
yards? I like the ETN lines. I really like the
5
ETN
3
lines.
5 3 5 3. So 5. He's literally gone 5 3 5 3 5 3.
So it's pretty fragile. What's our yardage been at? Yeah, yardage has been there.
77 40 88 55 136 55.
So I feel like
The receiving yards actually is probably the best one.
yeah.
Because he's gotten that almost every game. 27 2. I'm not sure what happened in that game, but then 50, 17, 48, 28.
Let's do it. Yeah, and I think that's all I think that's all I'm gonna put in there. So see, I've kind of really cherry picked some nice lines so far this week, and put in a fewer amount of slips with a little bit less risk, a little bit more path, a little bit easier to maybe hit these. And we'll see how it goes, man. But I feel ready, man. I feel ready for tomorrow night and week 7 now, Steve. So I appreciate you joining me tonight. As always, had a lot of fun, man. It's been a great stream. And appreciate all you guys out there in the chat as well. Is there anything else you want to leave us with, Steve, before we sign off?
Oh, there was something I had laying around here. Oh, I wanted to show this earlier because we talked about Jalen Johnson. Now, the price on here is not what I paid for it, but I'll flip it around so we won't have any spoilers. But I got this beauty right here. I know I always glare problems on this camera, but it's a gold rookie ticket optic out of 10.
Nice.
That serial number. The lighting is crap, but yeah, I picked that up, and I have a cracked ice one as well. There was a black finite that recently came up that I tried to get, but we're talking several $100s that went for, and that was a little bit out of my range for a defensive back. So, but yeah, man, I was pretty happy about that pick. I'm a Goff guy, and I'll be rooting for him this week. Goff MVP contenders card that came in the mail this week too. Looking forward to this week and redeeming myself in a couple of my matchups, including a loss to Andy this week. I had a mediocre Dallas performance, and that hurt a bit. But it's a long season. I got a couple of teams that are 5-1 and one that's 1-5, unfortunately. So good luck, everyone, this week. Andy, it's been a pleasure.
Yes. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you in that next one. Peace.